between the sunburned ridges and the wide, empty silence of the desert. An afternoon wind swept across the land carrying dust instead of rain. Corbin Thorne stepped out toward his well, thinking it was just another quiet day on the frontier. But today wasn't like any other. Beside the old wooden fence lay a figure he had never seen before, a young Apache woman, tall even while collapsed, her hair tangled with dirt and dried blood, her lips cracked white from thirst. When she opened her eyes, the way she looked at him was strange. Not fear, not gratitude, but as if she were memorizing the face of a man who might decide her fate. Corbin didn't know it yet, but that single cup of water he offered her would bring 300 Apache warriors to his doorstep at sunrise. The valley woke slowly that morning, the way an old man rises from sleep, stiff, quiet, wary of the cold. Pale sunlight slipped over the sandstone ridges, catching on dry sagebrush and lingering on the empty stretches of earth. A thin wind moved low to the ground, dragging dust along with it, whispering over brittle grass like a warning too soft to understand. Somewhere far off, a lone crow called once and fell silent, as if it too sensed something waiting behind the horizon. Corbin Thorne was already outside, moving through his morning routine with the patience of a man who'd long ago made peace with solitude. He checked the tie rail, straightened a loose fence post, and brushed the dust from his sleeves. Just another morning on the frontier, he told himself. Quiet, predictable, safe in its own rough way. But something in the air made him pause, a faint disturbance he couldn't yet name. It was the kind of feeling a man learned to trust out here. A shift in the wind, a tension in the silence, a reminder that the West never truly slept. His steps carried him toward the well, the heart of his ranch, and the only reason this land could support even one man. That was when he saw it, a shape lying against the lower fence, half covered in dust and shadow. It didn't belong here. Nothing human ever lay still like that unless trouble had come first. Corbin slowed, unsure if he should walk closer or keep his distance. The desert didn't forgive mistakes, and neither did the people who moved across it. But curiosity, or maybe conscience, pulled him forward. As he approached, the morning light crept across the figure, revealing more with every inch gained. It was a young woman, tall even while collapsed, her deerskin clothing torn and dirt-stained, long black hair spilled across her shoulders, tangled with blood and dust. Her lips were cracked pale, and the dry lines on her face spoke of thirst more than fear. The closer he got, the clearer her identity became. Apache. Not just any Apache, someone important. Judging from the beadwork on her clothes and the silver pieces braided into her hair. The kind of person whose absence would not go unnoticed by her people. Corbin crouched beside her, the dry earth crunching beneath his boots. His heartbeat thudded in his ears, not from fear of her, but from the sudden realization that this was no ordinary encounter. Memories of old stories flashed through his mind. Raids. Retribution. The way a single misunderstanding could ignite a war no one wanted. Still, he reached for the ladle, dipped it into the well, and held it to her lips. Her eyes opened slowly, dark, sharp, assessing. Even on the brink of collapse, she watched him the way a hawk watches the sky, not with gratitude, not with trust, but with the uneasy awareness of someone who knows the world rarely shows kindness without cost. She drank. Once. Twice. 3 times, then pushed the ladle away, wiped her mouth, and stood with surprising strength for someone who had been moments from death. For a few breaths, she simply stared at him, as if memorizing his face, weighing his intentions, evaluating the man who had just placed himself in the center of a storm he couldn't yet see. Without a word, she turned and walked toward the rising heat of the hills, her shadow stretching long across the ground. Corbin watched her go until the shimmering sunlight swallowed her figure. He returned to his chores, but the weight of her gaze clung to him. Something had changed in the air the moment she appeared, something that warned him peace was slipping away. That night, he slept lightly, too lightly. Every creak of the cabin, every rustle outside, pulled him awake. Even the horses shifted uneasily, scraping hooves against wood and snorting as if sensing unseen eyes in the darkness. By dawn, he knew something was waiting. He felt it before he saw it. The moment he stepped outside, the truth revealed itself. Dark silhouettes lined the ridges, silent riders, motionless as stone, but unmistakably alive. Corbin's breath caught. There were so many of them he lost count. The Apache had returned, all of them. Their presence wasn't chaotic or violent, it was calculated. Encircling the valley like a tightening rope, a single rider descended, older, harder, a man whose authority hung around him like a cloak of storm clouds. The chief. He pointed toward the well, the place Corbin had offered water, and waited. Then, through the parted ranks on the eastern ridge, she appeared, the girl, no longer battered or desperate. Now she wore fresh buckskin, decorated with turquoise and white beads that shimmered in the new sun. She looked taller, stronger, her voice steady as she spoke. "You gave water," she said simply. Corbin nodded. "Yes. You did not know who I am." "No." "You help anyway?" She studied him, her expression unreadable, then turned and spoke to her father. The chief's reply was a single word weighted with meaning. She turned back. "My father says, maybe you brave, or maybe you fool." Before Corbin could answer, a gunshot cracked the morning, then another, then more. The girl's head snapped toward the southern trail. Dust rose. Riders. Settlers. Militia hungry for a fight. The girl mounted her horse in a single fluid motion. "They hunt us," she said. "If they see you with us, they kill you too." With that, she vanished into the ridges alongside her people. Moments later, 15 armed men thundered into the valley. The militia cornered Corbin, demanding answers, searching his land, looking for any sign of the Apache. Tension hung as heavy as the heat. One wrong word could end him. Corbin chose honesty carefully measured. Half-truth honesty. "I saw signs," he said. "They're gone now." But when they found the tracks, fresh and unmistakable, the youngest rider leveled his rifle at Corbin's chest. Fury, fear, prejudice. They flickered across the group like sparks searching for dry grass. "You lied." "No," Corbin said calmly. "I didn't say they attacked me." "They didn't." "Why would they spare you?" the leader demanded. And Corbin's answer was simple. "True, because I didn't give them a reason not to." Before the standoff could ignite, a series of eerie calls echoed through the canyon Apache signals. Surrounding every direction, the militia paled. They mounted. They ran. Silence reclaimed the valley. And from the northern ridge, She returned. The girl approached with her father and a dozen warriors. Her gaze held no hostility now, only judgment. "You did not betray us," she said. "Others would." Her father stepped forward, removed a beaded necklace from his pouch, and placed it in Corbin's hands. The colors glowed softly in the morning light. "This means protection," she explained. "Means you friend of our people. Means no Apache harm you." But then her tone shifted, turning solemn. "But settlers, they see this. They say you traitor. They hunt you too." Her father spoke a quiet, decisive phrase. "You must choose." Corbin looked at the necklace, the weight of it far heavier than beads and leather. Protection from one side meant danger from the other. But violence, hatred, vengeance, those were choices he wanted no part of. He placed the necklace over his head. "I choose what lets me sleep at night," he whispered. The chief nodded once. Respect. Acceptance. A bond sealed without ceremony. The warriors began to leave, disappearing into the ridges like smoke retreating from a dying fire. But the girl lingered a moment longer, her voice barely louder than the breeze. "Hard times come," she said. "Stay true, or you die." Corbin met her eyes. "I will." And then she was gone. The valley, once suffocating with tension, settled into a fragile calm. Corbin stood alone, the necklace warm against his chest, the sun climbing higher over a land that had judged him and decided for now he was worthy. The wind carried the scent of dust and distant pine. The world held still, balanced on the edge of whatever would come next. And somewhere in that stillness, Corbin found something rare on the frontier, a peace earned by kindness and defended by courage. When the dust finally settled over the valley, the land grew quiet again, a rare stillness drifting in with the slow touch of the evening wind. The ridges glowed under the sinking sun, and the world slipped back into the calm the frontier seldom offered. Corbin stood alone beside the well, fingers resting on the beaded necklace across his chest. He understood now that his choice carried weight more than he'd imagined, and the road ahead would not be an easy trail. But even so, for the first time in a long while, he felt a steadiness inside him, a kind of peace he hadn't known he was searching for. Out here in the West, courage isn't always found in drawing a gun. Sometimes it's found in choosing not to. If this tale stayed with you, ride on to the next story waiting on your screen. And consider subscribing so I can keep bringing more frontier legends your way.